and the music house, really.
What music do you like?
Oh, I like AC/DC. AC/DC, I don't understand all the words because of, but
Like the music.
yeah, I like energy. Maybe it's too old, the music for.
I understand. They're the same.
G'day guys, Rukshani here. Thanks for joining me for this news vlog. This is a focused episode on Tucker Carlson and his upcoming interview with President Vladimir Putin of Russia. And I'm frankly concerned for his safety and well-being, especially with how these globalists, these mainstream media people and politicians around the world in the West, especially in Europe and the US, are now talking about Tucker Carlson. I almost feel like this could potentially become another Assange situation at some point in the future, or they'll set him up some other way like they've set up President Trump for all manner of things. And I'm not even just, talking out of my ass here. I'm basing this on comments made by politicians around the world. And this is coming from the EU, where they're now calling for sanctions and travel bans against Tucker Carlson for daring to go to Russia and get a different perspective as a journalist from Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia. Crazy stuff. Let me read this first article from the Daily Mail. Tucker Carlson could face sanctions in Europe for assisting a war criminal and being Putin's mouthpiece as EU politicians look to impose a travel ban on him following his controversial trip to Moscow to interview Russian leader. Former Belgian Prime Minister and current member of the European Union Parliament Guy Verhofstadt told Newsweek, as the Russian president is considered a war criminal, it's logical that an investigation be held into Carlson. Verhofstadt, I can't pronounce his name, tell me how to pronounce his name, has also called for a travel ban against Carlson and described the host as a mouthpiece for Donald Trump, who has long been criticized for his pro-criminal views. Any investigation into Trump would be conducted by the EU's European External Action Services, or EEAS, which is essentially the 27 nations bloc foreign ministry. This person also tweeted that real journalists in Russia are in jail or had to flee. Carlson is Putin's mouthpiece, an enemy of everything the US stands for. No more or no less. So yeah, listen to these European Union globalist hacks going on about arresting journalists or putting sanctions against them. And it doesn't end there. It doesn't end there. Let me show you the biggest mouthpiece of this globalist scum to talk up. And you're going to be surprised if you haven't seen this clip. Let's have a look at who this individual is talking about Tucker Carlson. And he really needs to be worried now, because if you're on this person's list, you're in a bit of trouble.
I mean, he's like a puppy dog. He somehow has, after having been fired from so many outlets in the United States, I would not be surprised if he emerges with a contract with an outlet, because he is a useful idiot. He says things that are not true. He parrots Vladimir Putin's pack of lies about Ukraine. So I don't see why Putin wouldn't give him an interview, because through him, he can, continue to lie about what his, objectives are in Ukraine and what he expects to see happen. It's really quite sad that not just somebody like Tucker Carlson, who has, as I said, been fired so many times because he seems unable to correlate his...
I'm just going to stop there, right? Listen up, lady, Madam President Hillary Clinton, that never was the president. The half the country fired you, right? Donald Trump fired you. Here she's talking about Tucker Carlson being let go from CNN or Fox News as some reason that he shouldn't be interviewing President Vladimir Putin of Russia. And what is she so worried about anyway? Why is Hillary Clinton calling Tucker Carlson a puppy dog and an idiot? Right? Isn't that what she said? He's like a puppy dog and an idiot for involving himself in such an interview. What does Hillary Clinton have to hide when it comes to this, right? What's her involvement in many of these issues that we're seeing around the world from her past and her history? Now, I can't go into some of those connections on these platforms, but there are people making links. And beyond all of that, if she paid this kind of attention to the activities of her husband, maybe when he was on Epstein's flights, or maybe even on the island, maybe we could take her seriously. But she's got a shady past, and you do not want to be on her list. And now Tucker is on her list. She's on the radar of all these type of individuals that just hate the fact that this interview is happening. Let me show you some of the media's reactions. First, we have MSNBC here. Let's have a listen in.
And somebody that we know, that we used to know, going over, doing Vladimir Putin's bidding, attacking Western journalists, saying if only Western journalists would have come over here and tried to even report fairly on the war. Well, there have been Western journalists that have gone over and tried to report fairly on the war. And they're in jail. They're in gulags right now.
Look how smug they are as they try to discredit Tucker Carlson for getting an interview with President Vladimir Putin of Russia. Look how smug they are, and they're bringing up other journalists who may have had issues. And what's that got to do with Tucker Carlson? What has that got to do with him? Maybe in his interview, Tucker Carlson can ask about these journalists who are in jail, right? This is like mind-boggling to see the media behaving this way, but it's not surprising, right? We saw Hillary Clinton, and now I'm going to show you this CNN journalist.
They interviewed the president of Russia, Vladimir Putin.
Tucker Carlson is lying from the streets of Russia, no less.
Not a single Western journalist has bothered to interview the president of the other country involved in this conflict, Vladimir Putin.
That's a lie. Serious news outlets, including CNN, have requested Putin to...
You know what's a lie? Serious news outlets, including CNN. That's the lie.
interview over and over again.
Most Americans have no idea why Putin invaded Ukraine or what his goals are now. We've never heard his voice.
Another lie. Serious news outlets, including CNN, have covered and, of course, reported on...
She has to keep mentioning serious news outlets.
Putin's words since this war began, including one of his baseless justifications for the invasion of Ukraine, which he initially claimed was to stop the Nazis.
First, because it's our job. We're in journalism.
Tucker Carlson is not a journalist, not even close. And his former employer in a court case.
There you go. Tucker Carlson is not a journalist, not even close, says this individual. I don't even know who her name is. That's how irrelevant she is compared to someone like Tucker Carlson. But regardless of all of that, just look how butthurt these individuals at CNN are. And there's no video that exemplifies this, pain that CNN and mainstream media outlets all around the world are going through right now than this video of a CNN journalist and her past interview with Zelensky. I'm going to watch it. Watch it with me now.
One of the leaders of the MAGA GOP is in Moscow tonight. It's the man you see here with the MAGA leader Donald Trump, Tucker Carlson. Possibly there in Moscow to interview Putin. Definitely there as a Putin-supporting celebrity.
A few moments ago.
As a human being, so many people look up to you. They rely on you. No one can imagine how hard that is. Do you do anything for yourself? Are you ever able to take a minute to read or to listen to music or something to sort of give yourself that a moment?
I have such moments, important, to be in silence, to be alone. And early in the morning, when there are no sounds, no people, not nobody. I mean, the people, our staff. I mean, nobody is in my cabinet. Nobody.
Yeah.
I can just read, think, and the music helps really.
What music do you like?
Oh, I like AC/DC. AC/DC. I don't understand all the words because of. But
I like the music.
Yeah, I like the energy. Maybe it's too old, the music for...
I understand. But the same.
I love it. No, it's important to have sometimes at 6, 7 in the morning, some trainings.
Workout.
Yes, workouts, and what to do something with music, with such music, which gives you energy for all the day.
I just had to make that video. How funny was that video by the Ultra MAGA Party? You can follow them on Twitter if you want to see more videos like this. Just hilarious stuff there, guys. But look, Tucker Carlson's interview drops on Thursday, US time. So I believe for us that is on Friday. But I will bring you whatever updates I can from it that will be allowed on these platforms, because the way that it's happening right now, I feel like there's going to be a massive campaign from social media companies to maybe shut down some of the answers that Putin gives. Just looking from the way that Hillary was crying, looking at the way the EU is talking about sanctions and all this kind of stuff, whatever Putin says, they're going to try to discredit it so badly. And, you know, as far as I'm concerned, it's okay that Tucker Carlson is doing this interview. It's what journalists should do. It's fair to criticize him and the questions that he asks. I think that's fair. We do that all the time when CNN, when they so-called journalists say stupid things, we criticize them. Tucker Carlson is not above that either. He will be criticized for what he's doing. But he's right as a journalist not to hear from the other side, not to hear from Putin. That being challenged by people like the EU saying they want sanctions, completely ridiculous, guys, completely ridiculous. The next story that I have, guys, is from Sydney. Now, whenever we talk about things like 15-minute cities and, you know, Agenda 2030 and the WEF and the things they have planned for us, many people out there will call us cookers or conspiracy theorists and these type of derogatory terms, because it's like those things are just, you know, make-believe. Well, let's have a read of this article from the Daily Mail in relation to Sydney. Sydney to get brand new 30-minute city with car-free streets. Here's what it will look like. It's not 15 minutes, it's 30 minutes, but, you know, they can always work their way down to 15. Australia's new city has set high expectations, promising to be greener and more sustainable while promoting car-free streets and quick access to facilities. Bradfield City is being built next to Western Sydney Airport at Badgerry Creek, with the first buildings to be ready at the time of the airport's opening in 2026. Planning documents say the entire aerotropolis will sit more than 11,000 hectares and that it will be centered around a pedestrian-only thoroughfares. Bradfield City will be a 30-minute city, meaning residents will be able to jump on public transport and access all CBD amenities from their home within half an hour. Now, many people will say, when you hear things like 15-minute cities or 30-minute cities, they will say, well, why not? Why not for the convenience? Why not have everything 15 minutes or 30 minutes next to you? I mean, it sounds great, right? Of course, there is an element of this which is good and appealing. I admit that I do. But it's the other elements which are attached to this. The elements of, hey, you know what? You guys don't need to own a car anymore. You don't need a car. You can get everything in 15 minutes. All right. Oh, you don't need to go out of the city to that other city. What for? You know, we'll create a system of travel passes to cut out the carbon emissions. You know, because even just using these other products to get to that other part of the town it's not needed, right? So you can only go there on a certain day. Like, I'm just bringing up hypotheticals here, but we'll see where this is going. And as soon as you're in a 15-minute city and we have a situation like we had a couple of years ago with these lockdowns, what do? They'll be like, oh, let's just lock you in your 15-minute city where you have everything and shut everyone off from everyone else. I mean, these are the things which are possible with these type of concepts. There's so many much more details I can go into around this. I won't for this episode. I might do a full thorough look into some of these Agenda 2030, these 15-minute cities and these concepts, because we're seeing them popping up not just in Australia in this instance, but all around the world. These concepts are being pushed down our throats. The next story I have, guys, is around this move that we're hearing from in different parts of the world to castrate sex offenders and pedophiles, criminals that, you know, rape women or rape children, rape men, whatever, like these type of criminals, especially repeat offenders. There's a move to castrate them. Let me know your thoughts on that. This all comes on the back of some news in Italy and in other parts of the world as well, because there was a major rape case in Italy that's going on at the moment where 7 men of Egyptian background, I believe, raped a woman, and it's just a sick, disgusting story. And one of the ministers in Italy, Salvini, who's a part of the more of the right conservative leaning part of the coalition there in Italy, he has suggested bringing his proposal to introduce forced chemical castration for rapists to parliament. Under his plan, the medical treatment could be imposed by a judge sentencing a child molester or rapist, and would be an automatic case of repeating offenders. So a lot of people are criticizing this idea, but I look to Madagascar, and Madagascar, this is just from today, will surgically castrate pedophiles under new law approved by MPs. It is revealed days after Kazakhstan announced the same plan. So Kazakhstan has also said they will remove pedophiles' genitals under new draft law after complaints that chemical castration was not harsh enough. So this is beyond chemical castration. Sorry, I'm just getting abreast of all of this now at the moment as well. So yeah, crazy stuff. It seems like crazy stuff, but if these pedophiles are out there and these rapists and these sick individuals who are repeat offenders harming people, is this a solution to put people off from ever considering such heinous, disgusting crimes? Is this the one way that we can tackle with these sick individuals and pedophiles in our society right now? Anyway, guys, sorry about all the doom and gloom towards the end of my vlog. That's all the stories I have for you today. If you're enjoying my news vlogs, remember you can subscribe to me on YouTube at The Real Rukshan. Hit that subscribe button if you want to. You can also hit the notification bell because apparently that helps with the algorithm. I don't know. You can also follow me on X, Instagram, Facebook, what else? Rumble and Odyssey at The Real Rukshan. Let me know what you guys think about my acting during that CNN video. Did you like my crying? Was I convincing? Was I more convincing than the CNN journalist? And was I more convincing than Zelensky himself, who actually has an Oscar from Sean Penn? Anyway, guys, see you tomorrow. Bye.